What is up, Budget Billies? My name is Trail, better known as Budget Bill, and this is your fourth stimulus check update and stimulus package update for Sunday, April the 25th. Good morning, everyone, and happy Sunday. Could America be on the verge to raise taxes on the wealthy for the first time in history? Well, not history, but in a very long time. Biden seems to think that this is the only way to pay for the infrastructure bill worth $2.3 trillion. Well, Bernie Sanders believes it is long overdue, and Elizabeth Warren wants to create a ultra-millionaire tax. She projects that this could bring in about $4 trillion to pay for the next stimulus package, but Republicans probably won't stay quiet on this issue. If they aren't able to increase taxes, can we see ourselves having universal basic income or UBI? There are talks around that as an alternative, but we will just have to see. And question, are all of these on the table right now as a suggestion just because of us wanting to receive a fourth stimulus check? Or do we really need the provisions within the infrastructure bill that will make this country great again? Well, that depends on who you ask. And then we also have an update on the new Bitcoin regulation and how that may hurt all the millennials that are making millions of dollars off this coin and never paying any taxes on it. Well, I sure hope not. But if they do, we might just have to find some other altcoins to jump into. But before we buy any more coins, if this is your first time to the channel, hey, welcome and glad to have you. On this channel, we talk about finance, real estate, credit cards, and stimulus update news. So if any of that interests you today, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button for me. That way you can join our community. Also, if you end up liking the content in this video or even laughing at one of my jokes, then be sure to like this video. Other than that, guys, hey, let's go ahead and jump right into the video. Okay guys, here we are almost at the end of April and we are on the verge of passing another stimulus package worth trillions of dollars. The Biden administration is trying to persuade lawmakers on how another stimulus package is needed to boost the economy, as well as taking care of some long-awaited repairs needed in most states. That is in the infrastructure bill, or also known as the Americans Jobs Plan. This bill is proposed to be $2.3 trillion and would offer an additional one-time payment of $2,000 stimulus check with reoccurring $1,000 checks per month. Well, let me back up a little bit because these stimulus checks are not exactly included in the infrastructure bill right now, but lawmakers are pushing Biden to include them in the next package bill. Biden hasn't really acknowledged these reoccurring checks as of yet, but I believe that Biden is just fishing the waters right now to see how much support is for more spending, and that's for the first part of the infrastructure bill. President Biden is set to introduce the second part of the bill later this week. That is rumored to cost another $1.5 trillion. This part of the bill is also called the American Families Plan. This bill is projected to have provisions included that would raise capital gains taxes from around 20% to 43.4%. This would almost be a double of the amount that we currently have, which would also include a surtax. But this would only apply to the wealthiest of people, which means that those who make more than $400,000 per year, which is really only about 3% of Americans in this country. So it only affects a very small group of the people.
I want to go back to taxes for a moment because the Dow is down about 350 points on reports that the Biden administration is going to propose doubling essentially the capital gains rate for high-income Americans. Can you tell us any more about that plan, and do you have any concerns that that would discourage long-term investing?
Well, we're still finalizing what the pay-fors look like, but I will say that the president's calculation is that there's a need to modernize our infrastructure, there's a need to invest in childcare, there's a need to invest in early childhood education and making our kids and the workers of the next generation more competitive, and he should propose a way to pay for it. His view is that that should be on the backs, that can be on the backs of the wealthiest Americans who can afford it, and corporations and businesses who can afford it. And his view and the view of our economic team is that that won't have a negative impact. There are alternative views, or there are proposals that don't exist yet on how to pay for it. That will be a part of the discussion. But he stays firm to his commitment to not raise taxes on Americans making under $400,000 a year, and he'll have a range of proposals on how to pay for his plans to invest in education and childcare.
In fact, the 400 richest Americans currently own more wealth than all black households and a quarter of Latino households combined, according to an analysis from the economists Emmanuel Saiz and Gabrielle Zuckman from the University of California, Berkeley. The richest top 0.1% has seen its share of American wealth nearly triple from 7% to 20% between the late 1970s and 2016, while the bottom 90% of Americans have seen its share of wealth decline from 35% to 25% in the same period. And to just put that into perspective, the richest 130,000 families in America now hold nearly as much wealth as the bottom 117 million families combined. So I asked the question, do you guys think that the taxes on the wealthy should increase as they are not paying their fair share? Or do you believe that everyone should leave the rich alone and don't interfere with their wealth building, as us regular folks should just sit back and just watch them? Let me know your thoughts down below. Moving on, another option being thrown on the table should be to move to a universal basic income, or UBI. This topic has been gaining traction lately as more cities experiment with providing residents with more money. There is a program pilot out right now where 125 residents are receiving $500 a month for their basic living. Other cities like Chicago, Oakland, and San Diego are also considering a $500 a month income to be paid for 1 year. Michael Tubbs from the Mayors for Guaranteed Income says that we can trust regular people with money just like we trust millionaires and billionaires with tax cuts.
I want you to answer the first question that doubters and naysayers have when you discuss a universal basic income. Why would you give money to people who may not have a specific need for it?
Well, everyone has need for money because money is a proxy for agency. Money is a proxy for ownership over time, and incomes are so volatile. So someone may not need money today, as COVID-19 has illustrated for us. When a pandemic happens, whether it's a flood, a public health disaster, et cetera, cash is an important tool by which people can stay healthy, people can move to shelter, et cetera. So I would absolutely say that we understand we live in a world, in an economy that necessitates the need for cash to be able to pay for childcare, for transportation, for utilities, but also to deal with the unexpected emergencies. And we know before COVID that 1 out of every 2 Americans, not just people in poverty, 1 out of every 2 Americans cannot afford one $500 emergency. And that's why guaranteed income is a powerful tool to help with that.
Now, even though this may sound like a good idea, others believe that it could decimate cities next year. UBI has never been a great idea, although since the recent wake of the pandemic, it has received a lot of traction. And that's because so many people are struggling right now and more individuals are falling into poverty, while the rich and wealthy people continue to make millions of dollars during the pandemic.
Every time there's an economic conversation about how do we move forward as a country. And I think it again goes to the point that we know that the vast majority of people are rational actors. We know that the issue isn't that people don't know how to manage money. The issue is that people don't have money to manage. We know the issue is not with people. The issue is with an economic system that doesn't allow for opportunity for everyone, where opportunity is not widely shared, but when people are literally working themselves to death and still unable to pay for necessities.
The thought of having a flat rate of payment for people or low-income earners would help keep them afloat and to prevent falling below the poverty line. As job opportunities continue to dry up and quality of life gets shrunken, the new UBI creates certain changes in the attitude towards work and life balance, allowing young people to stay in communities that they grew up in. But I personally don't see us ever moving to a universal basic income model, as so many people believe that working hard will offer the highest results in the end, as well as so many people today are becoming entrepreneurs and making millions of dollars from thin air, especially those recently that have won big on Bitcoin and altcoins. New wealth in this country has been generated through the pandemic as people realize that other ways to generate income instead of looking for more stimulus checks from the government. Which leads us into the next topic. Last week, Bitcoin took a nasty drop in its market share, which some believe was a standard correction. Bitcoin ended up dropping about 9% in just one day, as some news broke that the SEC could impose more regulations on the most popular coin, Bitcoin. Bitcoin ended up dropping from $64,000 to below $50,000 within hours over the latest tax hike scare. And this was right after Coinbase company went public with their massive IPO. This caused a massive drop in over $200 billion that was wiped away from cryptocurrency in a single day. But now that Bitcoin continues to get traction and millionaires are being created every day, the SEC wants to put more regulation on it. The SEC would just really like to ban it altogether, but that's a very difficult thing to do when it's dealing with peer-to-peer technology. The SEC commissioner said that,
"I think it's very difficult to ban something that's essentially a peer-to-peer technology. I think the goal, as with any technology, is to prevent people from using it for illicit purposes and only allow them to use it for legal purposes. That's what I expect to happen."
The US government is concerned about cryptocurrencies and them being used for illicit financing. Even the Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen believes this as well. But more large companies are jumping on board with the support of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, with leaders such as Elon Musk allowing Tesla Corporation to accept Bitcoin as a form of payment, as well as Mark Cuban accepting Dogecoin as a form of payment for game tickets and merchandise. PayPal allowing users to pay with Bitcoin, WeWork using Bitcoin for payment for landlords, and many more to follow very soon. Cryptocurrencies may become even bigger in the years ahead, and more people choose to park their money into coins instead of investing in gold or silver. My personal bet is on coins as well, which I have recently parked about 3% of my money into coins and plan to hold that over the next year or so to see how it goes. Now, I would never suggest anyone to invest their life savings into Bitcoin or any other altcoins, but I do believe that if you have some money left over sitting around to invest today, and if you invest that money and it won't cost you any heartache if you lose all of it, I would suggest that you take the time to invest in some coins. But of course, do your research as you would do with anything else. Don't listen to some random guy named Budget Bill on YouTube that looks like he is in his mother's bedroom filming videos at 2 a.m. in the morning. Do your own research and become more knowledgeable about the product and make calculated risk on opportunities to increase your wealth over the lifetime. Once I realized this in the past, it literally changed my life. From stocks to real estate to YouTube and now with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. But if you do decide to jump in, don't forget about those potential regulations that may be added to Bitcoin and cause more taxation on the profits you make on your investment. But who cares about taxes if you just made a ton of money? I know I sure don't, but that's another topic for another video. With that being said, hey, that's all I have for you today, guys. This has been another fourth stimulus check update for today. If you enjoyed any of this information or found it to be useful, be sure to hit the like button for me. It definitely helps out a lot, and it also tells YouTube to share this video with others. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button for me so that you can be a part of this community, and hit the notification bell to be notified of each new video. Again, as always, hey, I appreciate you guys stopping by and watching, and I hope to see you on the next video. Peace. Say cheese.